Well, we talked about what you guys have been working on this week on defense.
You know, as much as anything, blow delivery, disengage, get off blocks, playing double teams, stuff we work on all the time. And certainly it's been a point of emphasis not having to schematically get ready for a game and just trying to spend as much time as we can on fundamentals and continue to improve in playing blocks up front in our front seven. That's something we've been very poor at to this point of the year. Very disappointed with our progress as far as that's concerned. So it's not as very inconsistent across the board. Linebacker, defensive line, even on the perimeter in the Mississippi State game, the first drive, very not as firm on the edges as we needed to be. So across the board, just blow delivery, taking on blocks, all the things that sometimes, when you start to get into the season, you start worrying about schematics, you get away from some fundamental things, and we've, been my error of gotten away from some of those things that we'd be much better at, much improved at, and we haven't made as much progress as we need to. So we've certainly spent a lot of time on that, and we'll continue to. You need to address the things that you're not doing well, and we're just not playing very good in the front seven at this time.
Well, it seemed like before the season you were more concerned about the back end than the front end.
Hell, ain't nobody got to throw it.
I mean, are you surprised they not played better? I guess that's my question.
I mean, again, it is what it is. You turn the tape on. You just got to play blocks. You got to play double teams. You got to keep people off linebackers. Linebackers got to take on the block in the core of the formation. You got to leverage the formation. I mean, there's so many things that we need to improve on. And that's just something we got to continue to strive and get the right combination of guys that can do that, and we're continuing to do so.
Well, how did Cass grade out his first start?
He made some plays here and there. I thought that, again, everything was totally brand new for him. But we're struggling creating some negative plays in one-on-ones. And we felt like we needed to do something to get a guy in a one-on-one to win a one-on-one match. And again, I thought that he won some one-on-ones. He got some pressure on the quarterback. So I thought that, again, everything being brand new for him as far as playing blocking schemes in those situations, not just doing it on third down, which is all he's done for us this year. I thought he did okay.
In regards to that, though, Will, how did Justin Garrett grade out at the mic? I know with a couple more snaps.
Solid, solid. Again, he got a little gas as the game went. Thank goodness it was cool. But we need to continue to develop our depth there with Darrell Williams and Deshaun Davis and those guys. Trey Williams was not ready to go in the game. He practiced during the week, and I worked him out in pregame and did not feel good about where he was health-wise. I didn't feel like he was going to be able to take on and do the things you need to do to be successful. So. But we'll get Trey back, we'll get Tim Urban back. That's huge for us. Tim had a bone bruise in his foot from the Mississippi State game and practiced some last week, but again, just, Thursday practice to it wasn't moving around well enough for us to feel like he could even give it a go on game day to see if he could go. So getting those guys back certainly helps us.
The touchdown that Carlton gave up there, he was right where he's supposed to be. It's like the play against Aronia a couple weeks ago. Is there anything he can do to improve there? I mean, he was right where he's supposed to be.
Well, again, you're playing the ball out of phase. As far as playing a back shoulder ball, it was a well-thrown ball against a bigger receiver again. If he could have gotten his right hand in there a little bit more, because when you're playing from a back shoulder position, you're playing what we call out of phase. So if he could have really, stretched his right arm and gotten something down, you got to get an elbow down, you got to get a wrist down, you got to get something down in that situation. But again, exactly right. He is in position to make the play, and he's playing the ball, and it's exactly what we want him to do in that situation. They knew where they wanted to go with it. They knew the pressure was coming, and they made a play, and we didn't. And we've had 2 opportunities on third down in the red zone, which the last 3 ball games we haven't been as good in the red zone as we were the first 2. So we got to continue to work on that. But again, we're in position to make play, and I certainly would. Put him in that same situation again. He'll come up with those plays as we continue to move forward.
And you still feel like he's the number 1 kind of guy for you right now?
Absolutely, no problem.
Well, how did Rudy Ford do? Sort of get back as the starting safety back there.
Well, I did better than he's played probably for the year at this time, but still have a lot of things to clean up as far as leveraging the run game, pass game, eye control. Things that we can continue to work on, and we'll continue to do so. But certainly as a guy that's willing to work and do the things he needs to do to be successful. But to get Tim back, that helps us. It gives us some flexibility with Blake play safety, to do some other things there. So we got to continue to get our best combination of guys.
Other than just giving you another volume, what would TJ be able to bring to that once he's fully cleared?
Well, I mean, again, a smart guy that's, he's played on this, in the scene on Saturday, and that's important. I really was going back and this summer was looking before the season. You really look at our front front four as far as our defensive line was concerned. You got Montravis is the only inside player that's played. Pee Wee Lambert's coming off an ACL. Carl Lawson's missed basically the whole entire season other than the first half against Louisville, and Jamel President. Other than that, it's a bunch of new faces. So we're experiencing a lot of new things. You got Carlton Davis, Jeremiah Denson, Tim Irvin, a lot of new things going on with those kids. So, but again, another guy that's be able to go in the fold that has played before, it certainly will help.
There are times, Will, during the game when it seems like on the sideline that Coward is kind of hanging his head a little bit, like he's getting frustrated that he's not quite dominating the way he thought he would. Do you kind of sense that too, and what's he going to be able to do about it?
No, I think he's doing very well. He's contributing. He's playing 20 so snaps a game, some more than others. But I've been very pleased with where he is and what he's doing. He made a nice penetration the other day, a big down force right there to get them in a negative down and distance, forced to punt a play later. So no, I've been pleased.
Well, this week, like the entire defense, obviously working on a lot of things, but for those young guys especially, how important is this week now that they can take a deep breath?
Turns and reps. There's just as many turns and reps as you can get, and we've put them in a lot of situations versus our offense, so they're getting fastball work and 7-on-7 and team periods and things like that, and one-on-one. And again, the game continues to slow down the more reps and the more turns and the more times you get to visualize and see things. So there's no question it's huge for them.
Is it hard to get through to Byron that even if he's doing well, as you say, that maybe because the production's not there, that you can do well without having production? Is that a hard thing for a freshman to learn in that sense?
Sometimes, and I think that a guy that's very hard on himself as a player and certainly has high expectations for himself, as any person would, and whether it's in football or the business world or anything, you won't, and especially in this day and age, it's the instant coffee society. Add water, put it in the microwave for 30 minutes, it's all going to work. And that's really not the way it is all the time. So he is playing at the defensive line of the Southeastern Conference at a high level, and will continue to improve and continue to get better, just like every other freshman I've ever coached that's played as a freshman in the Southeastern Conference. And there's been a bunch, and he certainly is going to be a guy that's going to play at a high level.
What are your first impressions of Kentucky?
Well, I think that, again, the first thing that jumps out at you is the skill outside. Playing those guys last year, they were a little younger, they're a year older, and Baker and those guys, they've really done a nice job outside, and Williams at running back, and they've got a stable of guys, Horton, Kemp. They got three backs that are really good football players, and I think Toles is playing at a very high level. A guy that can hurt you with his legs, he can throw it well. They've created a little more tempo maybe than they've been before. A little more two-back, some three-back that they've added to their package for the things that they do. But again, they've done a really nice job, and I think Mark and his staff have done a really good job of athletically improving their football team, especially at the skill positions.
Well, since your players are still engaged as far as
Absolutely.
belief and they can get better?
Absolutely, yeah. The work we've had the last 2 days has been outstanding, so I've been very pleased.
At all concerned when it's a non-Power 5 team on the West Coast, another 400-yard performance, and that and an FCS team have that kind of production?
It's always, it's always certainly not something that I'm used to, and it's not something we need to become accustomed to either. But I really thought going into the Mississippi State game, after the Mississippi State game, we had really made some progress. And Kirk Sampson told me after the game, that's the first time since '08 Auburn's held an SEC opponent under 60 yards rushing. Since '08. It's a long time. It's shocking, to be honest. But we're not going to be here long, I can assure you of that.
Will the turnovers, can you kind of describe how turnovers happen? You got 4 of them on Saturday, and you feel
Well,
like whatever
again,
you're doing in
Blake-
practice takes over to the game?
You'd like to think so, but again, I think a lot of that comes down to guys making some plays. Ruby Ford made a great strip on the third down play. Blake kind of broke on the ball, knocked the ball off the guy. Guys coming out of the stack. If Justin hadn't intercepted, I think there had been 2 or 3 others because they had great effort coming out of the stack. So anytime you're getting those sort of things, of course, the fourth down play was huge. Devontae comes in there and crashes and makes a nice play. Carlton is in the right place at the right time. It seems like he's in the right place at the right time a lot. So But no, that's always something you gotta build on, and as far as that's concerned, and certainly that was one of the few positives we had.
Are you in a position where you feel like you could get one or two more guys to step up and count on more in the depth, the rotation on the front seven?
Well, again, I mean, we're going to certainly give Andrew Williams and John Tavius Johnson some opportunities. I mean, we need to. I mean, you're going to continue to do the same things, you're going to get the same results. So we need to continue to give those guys some opportunities. They've gotten more reps than they've gotten all year, and put in preparation to go into Lexington.
How's John Tavius?
He's been solid. He's been solid. He's coming off a knee, you know, he had in high school. So that's been a little bit, when you have a bigger guy, that takes a little longer as far as being, you know, the pounding and all that they've got to take on the double teams and all those things are sometimes a little bit more sore coming out of the practices as opposed to some of the skill kids that have those. But I've been pleased, yeah.
Do you look at him as strictly as a zero, or?
John Tate, yeah, he was an A gap, you know, 0, A gap, 2I. I mean, he can play a 3. Mm-hmm.
How close is Evero and like Swain to doing the things that you need them to do against the run specifically?
Well, the last ball game was not very good. We need to improve.
Will Casanova play the buck again?
We'll look at that.
Do one more? Is it a deal where he can play both? I mean, you played them both
Mhm.
the other game,
Yeah.
the other day.
Most of the other times have been strictly on 3rd down, and but you know, Jay, we'll continue to find out the best 11 for us, and we've had a lot of different combinations in the first 5 games. All right.
Well,